Greetings, upstanders. Dr. O here, and just to be clear, there's no spoilers about the Superman movie in this at all. This is not about the Superman movie in terms of any of that. I saw it last night, not giving anything away, so feel free to keep watching. Okay, so I watched the Superman movie, and I went with my brother Simba, who some of you all have seen on the show here, and I told him from the very beginning before we walked in. He's like, what are you going to be, your emotions, because I wasn't really a big fan of seeing it. I'm still feel like they did Henry Cavill wrong, and etc. So, you know it's neither here nor there, or maybe it's there. But I told him, like, I'm going to be watching this movie thinking about the fact that they still haven't replaced the Black Panther. That's what I'm thinking. And to be clear, for those of y'all new to my channel, anytime I find myself talking about, Chadwick Boseman, I find myself getting kind of emotional. I was in, one of his early, student movie films, stayed at the same house, everything back in his Howard days and the like. And so, to go from there and see his rise, about the same age. I know a little about his African, philosophies and chants and things that he would do, from experiencing that, and other people who are close to him. So it's very hard for me to even talk about him, seeing from where he came from, having been there for a part of the beginning. Even Denai Guerrero was in one of those in that movie that we did, to this place now. This is back in my acting days and stuff. So like many people, Chadwick has a special place in my heart, and he has a special place in your heart for various reasons. I just gave you some of mine. And I just feel like, from what I've seen about him, what I've read about him, and listening to people who know him better, like his family members and stuff, I'm not saying they are saying this, but I'm talking about, I feel like the way that he encapsulates, African spirituality and identity, and embrace being a role model for people and the like. I feel like he would want the Black Panther T'Challa role to continue. And I feel like it's very problematic that people are moving on without him. Even when I watch, and so this is why I was thinking about this as it relates to Superman. Did you know that when you add in television, when you add in radio, when you add in the cartoons, and when you add in the movies, there have been like 15 different people who have played Superman in some way, shape, or form, and most of them are still alive. Most of them are still alive. If I want to run down people like, let's see, some people who are still alive, some names. Dean Cain is still alive, and I'm including the animated series as well. Tim Daly is still alive, and the reason why, George Newbern, who played him on the cartoons, is still alive. Tim Daly was in the cartoon version. I'm just running down some. Tom Welling from Smallville, Brandon Ruth, Henry Cavill, Tyler Hoechlin, and of course now the current Superman. It's a lot. It's been a lot, and so what are we doing here? David Corns is playing him now, and they're actively removing T'Challa from everything. Even in the X-Men '97 cartoon, the scene, if X-Men '97 was the time it's supposed to be taking place, Black Panther was still alive, because back in the earlier the X-Men series that came before that, he was alive in it. But they took him out and put T'Chaka in there, his father. I'm like, well, what are we doing? How many people have played Spider-Man? I mean, the last Spider-Man movie I saw had the last three movie Spider-Man in the same movie. They're all still alive. How many people have played Batman, from Ben Affleck to Val Kilmer? Like, and most of these guys have still been alive when a new Batman came into play. And I believe that Chadwick Boseman would, believe that the Black Panther, okay, I'm not gonna disrespect the man by saying I can speak for him, because I can't. Let me correct myself. In my opinion, from what I've seen as it relates to him and the community, like, I feel like the Black Panther role is bigger than him. And I feel like, from what he did, what he meant to kids, we should all want more people to be able to experience that feeling we had going to see Black Panther. Getting the families together, taking the pictures, the Wakanda Forever. Like, new generations should be allowed to experience that. I feel like it's disrespectful to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, and I feel like it's disrespectful to the legacy of the Black Panther to not have T'Challa back in the movies. What black hero role is coming out? What movie is in production? I know there's a couple of conversations about TV shows, Green Lantern, here and this and there. Where's the black superhero, the black male superhero franchise? And of course, I'm going to ask the same for black women as well. But no, there hasn't been a situation with this, tragic loss as it relates to black women in continuing a role. So there's another conversation, but a different type of conversation. And I just feel like and I understand that Ryan Coogler and all of these guys had relations to him, they were close and so on and so forth. But we have to take the emotion out of it. And we have to think about the continual legacy of a hero that so many of us waited to see on the big screen. That's Star Wars. I mean, how many different Luke Skywalker? Like how many people? But we're only gonna get one in a couple of cameo appearances and then his own movie. Like the Black Panther role is bigger than that. And I don't want us to continue to see like these different Wakanda iterations of things. I know that there's a Wakanda cartoon coming out on Disney and all of this other type of stuff. Give us the Black Panther. Give us the Black Panther. Give us T'Challa. To see, Chadwick in that role, sitting there rivaling, Captain America and all of that. We need, especially now. So what's going to happen in 10 years when you want, to take your kid to see Black Panther, or your grandkid, to relive kind of the memories you felt when you saw it? What are you going to do? Are you going to wait for them to put the 2018 movie back in theaters like they're doing now with some other movies so you can go and relive that? We need that new experience. It got Wicked movies coming out, Wicked Witches of the West and all of that. Everybody is getting a reboot. Wonder Woman, everybody is getting a reboot, but Black Panther. It's not right. It's not right. It needs to be done. Daredevil, like I'm not going to run down the list of everybody. Look, at some point, Spider-Man's been around 100 years, Superman 100 years, all these different places. At some point, none of us ain't going to be around, 80, 100 years from now or whatever. They're still going to be making movies. Is there still not going to be a Black Panther? Like, look, I felt like they should have had a Black Panther in Wakanda forever. I feel like they should have done that. But I feel like, now we're, 7 years in, since the first movie came out. And at some point, this needs to happen. And I'm really gonna, I'm all about supporting actors and supporting movies and the things that they're doing and stuff. But it's hard to continually support something that is erasing one of the most prominent figures in comic book history, and particularly in Black comic book history. And I personally feel like it's disrespectful to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman not to continue this, because this man put everything in it to make it happen. Why not let it continue? Why not let this continually be inspired? And, I am somebody who pays attention a lot to the erasure of Black people. I am somebody who pays attention a lot to the erasure of Black people in these movies that I'm seeing. And obviously I start with Black men because I'm looking for myself first, and how I'm represented. People look like me represented. Then I go to Black women, and then I go down the different lists to see how different groups are being represented. And it's just really unfortunate. Most of these movies that I'm seeing nowadays, even the non-hero movies, don't have prominent roles for Black men at all. And now I'm seeing, now I'm seeing that this particular character is being completely erased, and it's wrong. So when I was watching Superman, I was just like, wow, here's another dude, another guy. None of the last few guys who played Superman, since the 2000s, TV and radio, TV and movies, none of them are gone. But here we go again. There could be another Spider-Man reboot, different Punishers. So yeah, y'all. I just think that it's wrong. I think it's disrespectful to the legacy of Black Panther. I think it's wrong to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. I feel like he's somebody who wanted to inspire Black people to be higher, and and I feel like we should do that by any means necessary. I feel like We need to take the emotion out of it and think about the message that can come from the people. And to be quite honest, put another black actor in a spot to excel. I think is also important and necessary as well. So those are my thoughts. Well, what do you think? Even if you think that Black Panther should never be replaced, do you see the hypocrisy in the continual rebranding of everybody else to make sure that these legacies continue to live on? And why can't we get that? I know at the end of Wakanda Forever, they had his son in there. Like, is he going to become Black Panther? And if he becomes Black Panther, then I could be fine with that. Personally, I feel like the role of T'Challa himself should be recast just with the same respect that all of these other Spider-Man and Superman and Flash and all of these other movies do. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. But at the end of the day, give us another Black Panther, not T'Chaka, the Elder. Give us another Black Panther. And lastly, I didn't say this. I should have said this earlier. We got all of these alternate universe theories and dimensions and all of the other type of stuff. When we watched that Spider-Man, the last one, they were all from different dimensions. There's no Black Panther in any of these other universes. Earth 87, Earth 7001, like nothing. For real, he's dead in all of them? Come on, man. So there's no excuse for this to be happening, for this to continue. Respect the legacy of Black Panther and bring him back. Recast T'Challa, bring back the Black Panther. What do you think? Peace.